This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of October 7th, 2024. Well, we're not going to have any more eclipses until March of next year, but the influence of the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse that we have just been through will continue to resonate for some time. And this week especially, our relationships, our values, our desires, and most of all, our thoughts and communications are dealing with what has been unleashed, particularly from last week's Libra solar eclipse, which was huge in installing a new way of dealing with each other, upgrading our relationship dynamics, and in many instances, booting some relationships completely out of our lives. The aftermath this week starts with some really, really nice developments in the relationships that are abiding. Venus trines Mars on the 8th, making it just about effortless for people to get along, for people to do things for each other, for you to be able to implement caring, nurturing, protective action, proaction that has really, really deep meaning to you. This is an easy time of intensifying the contacts that are important to you. This could bring a really beautiful connection or link a really beautiful connection into something that is much more solid and stable. It's also incredibly easy to communicate, to say what you want, to pass information back and forth. The air will be filled with chatter at the same time. Mercury is trining Jupiter, which makes everything bigger, which amplifies every single thing the planet touches. This combo brings pregnant action, action that has flowering potential, consequences, and will very likely be revisited because two of the planets involved in these pairs will retrograde. Jupiter retrogrades on the 9th and will gradually go back to his second square with Saturn, which won't happen until Christmas Eve. Now, a Jupiter retrograde, any Jupiter aspect actually, tends to be pretty nuanced. He doesn't come with flashing neon lights and flashing arrows and a top hat and a cane and tap dancing in front of you, except in Gemini, he does amplify the noise. He does amplify the duplicity. He does amplify the chatter. So as Jupiter retrogrades in this part of the sky, old information will come back out gradually. Perhaps we will go back over a lot of recent chatter, a lot of duplicity, a lot of talking out of both sides of the mouth, or maybe some people will start changing their stories. The other planet that has a retrograde coming up is Mars, the other planet that is involved in the two pairs of aspects that start the week. Mars will not retrograde until he clears out of Cancer and enters Leo. His retrograde starts early in December, and it will bring him back into Cancer. And he will be revisiting some of this territory early next year. Something that you put in motion, something that moves at the beginning of the week, you will get to revisit, and it may not really hit its full gestation until next spring. Okay, back to Jupiter stationing retrograde. Before the meaning of that and the effect of that become particularly noticeable, adjustments must be made. On the 10th, Venus has an adjustment aspect with Jupiter, which could encourage wanting more, asking for more, being much more self-indulgent. Both of those planets are influences of indulgence. And Mercury makes an adjustment aspect on the 11th with Uranus. These planets both rule the mind, our conscious mind and the higher mind, the lightning rod that pulls inspiration from who knows where. Startling news, shocking news, startling realization, something could come in that changes the way you look at things, it changes your perspective, that shifts messaging in a really important way. This is Benjamin Franklin tying a key to the end of a kite and flying it during a lightning storm territory. Keep your eyes open and notice what flashes in your brain or right in front of you. Now, during the brief window of October 9 and 10, all of the outer planets are retrograde, Jupiter through Pluto, bringing all kinds of information, all kinds of situations up for revisiting and redoing. And Jupiter is getting in on the dance distantly between Neptune and Uranus and Pluto. And now the dance changes. On the 11th, Pluto stations direct. Pluto at the final degree of Capricorn is making the turnaround to slowly exit the sign for the rest of our lifetimes. There may be a sense of quickening the cleanup, the exposure of corruption, the restructuring of foundations and institutions that occur from this. Pluto will not clear out of the sign until 2/3 of the way through November. But notice the change in the quality of revelations, the nature of them, and also notice action being implemented, addressing so much that has been revealed or has collapsed. That occurs as Pluto inches forward. Information will be abundant and fertile over the weekend because Mercury, which rules how we think, how we talk, how we process information, how we send it out, and also the nature of the communications we have, our information channels, our information devices, social media, our vehicles, lots and lots of stuff. Cosmic messenger. The cosmic messenger makes an adjustment aspect with Neptune on the 12th, planet of illusion, planet of highest love and inspiration, planet of delusion. So there's an adjustment coming through communications, involving thinking that is tied to this revelatory and cleaning up dance that Uranus and Neptune and Pluto have been doing since the beginning of September. Something very probably will come to light in yourself, in your own life, and definitely out in the news. That has to do with lies, deceit, fraud, delusion, deception, possibly even outright diagnosable mental illness. And then, very quickly, Mercury in Libra makes its final contact with Pluto in Capricorn in our lifetimes. Mercury squares Pluto, hard realizations, candid conversations, very important, monumental information coming out regarding corruption, regarding the restructuring that has been going on in our institutions and foundations, regarding the collapse of infrastructure. Communication becomes extraordinarily focused when Mercury makes this square to Pluto. Something is cut away, something becomes non-negotiable, and then Mercury enters the Pluto-ruled territory of Scorpio, and we embark on a period of exploring everything that came to light, exploring those hard conversations and realizations and disclosures. Mercury in Scorpio gives us all X-ray vision. It gives us the ability to communicate without actually using words, to read the undercurrents, to read the subtext, to walk into a room and perceive what is going on, even if you can't put it in words in your whole mind. Now, at this point, once Mercury moves into Scorpio, we have our communication mode, our relationship mode, our action mode, and our relationship to maturity, adulting, the government, you name it. Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Saturn, as well as Neptune there at the end, all of those in water sign. And 3 of them have been in a round robin, which is to say this is not a logic ruled stretch of time. This is not an intellectual stretch of time. Energy is primarily emotional. It is picked up. It is kinesthetic. You feel it in the water in your body. You may not be able to formulate words that adequately convey what you're perceiving. Trust your gut. Trust how your body feels. Trust what you sense much more than the words anyone is using. Some of what you hear isn't going to line up with what you're sensing. Mars is in a really uncomfortable relationship with Jupiter, and you will be bugged to do something that's outside your comfort zone. However, you also have the skies opening the door to you just living large, doing what you want, indulging yourself, expanding your concept of what is possible, and you will probably feel like the world is a pretty good place and that you have great prospects when the week ends with the Sun trining Jupiter. The outcome of this journey this week lands you in a spot where you feel good about yourself, good about your prospects for the future, and you're not holding yourself back. Whatever the adjustments are that we're making in our relationships, whatever the new agreements are that we're entering into, whatever the new connections are that the Libra solar eclipse is delivering, you are not compromising yourself. We all are finding a way to be who we really are in the context of coexisting with other people. Homing thought of the week: I am honest with myself. Song of the week: I have 2, You Learn by Alanis Morissette and New Rules by Dua Lipa. And the image of the week is hanging a picture and adjusting the angle until the frame is straight. You'll learn more about this in my forecast for the month of October, which is up at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio and TV on the 1st and 3rd Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. And this week, my guests are the creator of a new software program, Nichepso, and platform Third House Social, John Streaker, Patrick Watson, and Nick Dagan Best. The last 2 names should be known to those of you with an astrology background out there. I also host lively conversation on Facebook on the page Empowerment Unlimited and in the group the Astro-Insight Lounge. I post on Instagram and Threads at Kathy Biehl and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.